Did you know that the position and movement in our heels can affect what's happening up in your hips? Our hips can hold constant tension or get pulled along for the ride due to what's happening in our feet. So come join me today as we explore an exercise at your feet to help improve what's happening at your hips. Let's explore what happens in a split squat and a hip hinge so that we can have some comparison to before and after doing the foot exercise. So for the split squat, we're gonna have 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. We're having hips square to the front and level, often like adding a slight hinge because a lot of time people are tight in this posterior inferior glute area. And then now we're gonna lower straight down and straight up like an elevator. So I want you to think about, what does that feel in your hips? Can you get that straight down and straight up movement? What does that feel like in your foot? Does it feel grounded, or do you find yourself kind of teetering forwards and backwards or side to side? Really, we want to have equal contact between our heel, base of pinky toe, and base of big toe throughout the movement. Now at the hip hinge, we're gonna have feet hip width apart, and then we're having those knees staying soft, staying right over that midfoot as we sit straight back into those hips, and then coming back forward. So again, with here, what does that feel like in your hips? What does that feel like in your feet? Do you feel that equal grounding? What happens when we go onto one leg, sitting back in that glute of that front leg, and then comparing it to the other side? Does one side feel wobblier or feeling more of that teeter-totter motion? And just kind of sensing the ease of movement and groundedness in that position. Now, before we see what happens when we explore some foot movement, let's first talk about the foot a bit more to help you get more out of the exercise. Visualization and intentions go a long way, especially when it comes to the foot and ankle, where the movement is relatively small compared to something like the hips. Pronation and supination in the foot and ankle are a domino effect of movements that occurs in the lower leg. The relative motion between the joints helps optimize and utilize the stretch reflex to help move us over the ground. It also helps keep us centered through our legs, creating balanced movement throughout the system. It's not a matter of just tipping in or rolling out, but this equal movement and spread and opening of the foot, and then shortening and lifting to help push us forward. Sometimes certain movement components can get stuck, while others might drive excessive movement or be biased in a set position. This can affect other subsequent movements either at the foot and ankle or higher up in the chain. As we pronate, our heel bone should go into E version, tipping out to create space for the next bone of the talus to lower us towards the ground and over our foot in a centered manner. As we supinate, our heel bone should go into inversion, tipping in to help create a rigid foot and arch to push off of. Let's go explore an exercise to emphasize some of that heel movement. All right, so we're gonna grab a circle band, and you want it to have a decent amount of resistance because we're trying to have it help you pull into a movement and also give you some feedback of what you're gonna lift out against. And what can help is if you turn it into a figure 8 instead of just a loop, and we're gonna step into it and put it just above those ankles. We really want to think, just below the ankles. So we're really trying to think below those ankle bones so we can drive more movement from the feet and heels rather than up from the tibia. Now the tibia and knee will come along for the ride, but again, we're trying to focus that action in the heel here. So feet are going to be hip width apart, and we're going to go into a slight hinge. So just feeling how much you can lower down, that it feels comfortable, being able to sit back into your glutes and not getting any rounding in your back. And we're going to maintain this position the whole time. So you can put hands on your thighs if you need to. So now what we're going to see is, again, we want that resistance so much that you can feel how it wants to pull your feet in towards each other. We're going to lift up. We're going to maintain one foot feeling centered while we roll the other one. During this movement, really focusing on the sensation in the heel versus totally in the foot or up in the knee. The foot and the knee are going to come along for the ride, but we're really kind of thinking about that heel rocking movement. So here I am, left foot staying nice and steady. And now I'm going to think about the band helping to slowly pull my heel in so that I feel more weight and pressure to the inside of my heel. And you can see how my knee will get brought in a little bit with that. I'm going to feel a little bit of lowering in my arch. And then now I'm going to rock to the outside of my heel, feeling how my big toe kind of gets pulled back, arch gets lifted, and my knee comes out a little bit. So slow and controlled, letting the band pull in, feeling the weight go to the inside of the heel, and then rocking to the outside of the heel. So we're going slowly in each direction, really feeling that beginning, middle, and end, and making sure as I roll in that I don't just collapse in, letting that pinky toe side come up. And then when I roll out, I'm making sure I'm not just rolling the whole foot out and losing the base of that big toe. So again, as I roll in, pinky toe stays down. As I roll out, big toe stays down. My toes aren't scrunching. I'm not driving the movement from my knee and my hip up here, but thinking about how it's along for the ride based off of that heel rocking motion. You do about 10 or so on one side, and then you can reset your hinge as much as you need to. And then the right foot now is going to be the stable position, and the left foot's going to go in and out. So as I'm pulling out in the left leg, I'm making sure that the band is not pulling my right foot in. So I'm working on that stability component after we've gotten those wiggles in the right foot as I dynamically move the left side. You might notice how one direction feels easier than the other. Oftentimes people can really come in and then they only get a little bit out. So it's a little bit of a drawer that's stuck where we do want to have some of that inward movement to give space to be able to come back out from, but we're making sure we're not getting excessive and we're doing it with good, slow, controlled movement and good, controlled, slowed movement back in the other direction. So then we'll take that off and then you can just kind of see, what does that feel like as you're standing here? Do you feel more grounded in your feet? Do you feel that your hips got woken up a little bit? Do they feel like they exhaled a little bit? And revisit our hip hinge. So thinking about sitting back into those hips again, how does that feel keeping your knees over your midfoot? Is there less of that teeter-totter action? Is there more freedom to move in your hips? Same thing with that split squat. As we go straight down and back up, do you feel more grounded as you go to do that? Okay, checking the other side and kind of thinking about what side was harder in the band exercise, and does that correlate with the side that was harder in the hip hinge or the split squat? Now this is only looking at one component of the whole kinetic chain that's going on here, but we can think about how maybe getting a little bit of that heel wiggle can help with subsequent domino effects that need to happen in the foot for either pronation or supination mechanics to help set the foot and the hips up for success. Did you find this video useful or have a question? Let us know by liking this video, leaving a comment, or subscribing to our channel. Are you a movement professional who wants to learn even more? Check out the description below for details on our continuing education options. You can also check out some of our other helpful videos relative to this topic. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.